Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to our next episode of Corner Taken Quickly podcast. And with me, there's Arun, Sai, and Nikhil. And yeah, and follow the goal difference, guys. It's a wonderful page on Instagram. They provide us with very good insights of the matches in the Premier League that's been happening. So do follow them. And yeah, hi Sai and Arun. How are you guys doing?
All good, sir. आप बताओ. Hope everything good at your
Uh,
end.
yeah.
Our team.
So at least decent game week. So went off to the international break with a bit of mental peace. And yeah. What about you, Arun? How are you doing, man?
Hey man, all good. How about you? Good game week for the goal difference and personally as well. Yeah, as you said rightly, peace of mind this game week. So going into the international break. So I mean, yeah, it's good. Good. Our transfers finally paid off. Our
Yeah,
brainstorming during podcast.
indeed, they did. I saw your game week, last game week for the goal difference. You guys scored 98 points. That's freaking good, man. Yeah. So, chalo, I'll start off with the podcast then, guys. I'll start off with the topics. Since we have discussed our game weeks, and this is not a particularly game week video, it's just that we have to get in a few ideas of players who have performed well and who have not performed during the week. And just to gain a bit of clarity for people who are wildcarding and all those sort of things, right? So now, like we'll just start off with the players who have made a watch list during the game week, the way they have performed. Maybe I'll start off with Arun. What do you think about Leicester's attack right now, especially Vardy? They have been getting awfully lot of penalties, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm tempted to bring them in, but at the expense of whom? That's what the question is.
Yeah, so Wadi seems a really good pick because of the penalty in number of penalties that have the number of penalties increased this season. So Wadi seems a good pick, but I read a stat somewhere that said that he had just two or three touches in the box. So he's not getting into that many attacking positions that managers want him to get to score the goals. As far as Leicester's attack is concerned, Barnes didn't start the last game, but Tielemans has been starting off late,
Yeah.
a lot of games. So he seems a good pick. But with Tielemans, whenever I've taken Tielemans, he's never performed. He's like my bogey player. So I mean, I would just personally would keep away from him. But he's a good pick. He also takes penalties when Vardy's off the pitch, and Rodgers is managing Vardy's minutes really well. I think once Leicester have won the game, he subs him off, and Tielemans then takes the penalties. That's you're hedging too much on that, but I think it's worth taking Tielemans into your FPL teams. But for now, I'll stick with Wadi from Leicester's attack.
Yeah, for me as well. For me, when it comes to Vardy, no, it's like they've gotten 8 penalties thus far, which is insane. Like in 8 game weeks, they've gotten 8 penalties, and at some point of the season, this has ought to fall, right? And maybe I don't think Vardy has scored maybe one or two goals in the open play, and hasn't scored in the at least in the Premier League. So yeah. So guys, like we'll move on to our second question and ask Sai about this. What do you think about Tierney and Arsenal's defense after their debacle against Aston Villa?
So Aston Villa again, they come up with surprising results every now and then.
Yeah,
You saw that with Liverpool as well, and now with
true.
Arsenal. But I wouldn't judge them basis just one game. I think they are beginning to look like a team which are sorting out their defense pretty quickly, with three central defenders at the back and Bukayo Saka and Bellerin at either of the ends. And that's working perfectly well for them as well. Now, when I watched Arsenal's last game, I saw Bellerin. He was taking a lot of advanced positions. I think he had a couple of shots on target as well. So he seems like the better option amongst the other defenders from the Arsenal team. Uh, yes, there may be situations where they will concede goals, but with Bellerin in your team and in an attacking position, I think you are bound to get some attacking returns at some point.
Yeah, it is true. Since we were discussing about this in the Manchester United game as well. One bad game week doesn't make the team good or bad. And especially with Bellerin, he has the freedom to go forward since they have three at the back. So still, it's a wait and watch for me. I'll not be bringing him in. I'll just be waiting to see how he performs. But at this point, the signs are good, but still, wait and watch for me. Uh, so, guys, I'll move on to the next question then. What is your take about Leeds' defense? Like, I'll just give you a scenario. Since Dallas is playing sometimes in the midfield, sometimes at the back as a fullback, and apart from him, I don't think anyone in the defense of Leeds are that much of any priority at this moment because they don't happen to have any clean sheets thus far. Not a lot. So, what is your take? I'll start off with Nikhil.
So I think Leeds are concede they haven't kept a clean sheet, I think, in the Premier League, right? One,
They
I
are
think.
far and few in between.
And they concede
They're
a
not
lot of
that.
chances. And Dallas is the
Yeah.
only option I see worth going for because uh, he plays in a forward position as well,
Yeah, exactly.
rotation and
He's
all.
very
So
flexible in
yeah,
terms of his position.
he's like a Milner, like Milner
Yeah.
for us. He plays in the midfield as well as the defense, so he can get your assists and goals as well consistently. So I think if you're giving me a choice from Leeds defense, I'll only take Dallas. I thought
Okay.
of Ailing as well,
And
but he's not that consistent. That's the
yeah,
reason.
he generally plays in a pretty withdrawn role.
Yeah,
Even when he's playing as a right back, not as a this thing. He had a very good return the first game, so that prompted me to have him in for a couple of game weeks, but wasn't performing that consistently. So it made me realize that it's better to switch to Dallas since they are
and
the same
Bielsa's
price tag.
system is also complex. No, he made a number 10 like Alioski play on in the left back position for 2 games,
Yeah,
then change it with Dallas. So even
exactly.
I'm confused right now. So I don't know. Only Dallas is the person who's consistently playing. So,
Yeah.
But I think
Uh,
teams are starting to figure out, Leeds attack
yeah,
and the way they play. If you
hmm.
see the last 2 games, I think Leicester and Crystal Palace,
four.
they probably understood their game better than any other team had previously, and they ended up scoring 4 goals each. So I think that bubble is bursting because of which, even with the Dallas being in the midfield, if you're going to concede 4 goals,
Mhm.
you end up getting zero for him, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see much of an incentive to bring in Leeds defenders at the moment.
Yeah, that is very
Bielsa
true
doesn't have a
because
plan B. He doesn't have a plan B for that for his games. I guess that's the problem. So I think Leeds defense is a no-show right now.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, Dallas is the only. I think I like tailing though, but I think Dallas, as Nikhil pointed out. If I had to pick somebody, it would be Dallas right now.
Yeah. And
And they
one
also have,
long,
I think they
yeah,
also have
please.
Everton, Chelsea, and Arsenal right in the next 3
Yeah,
games.
Hmm.
So it's going
true.
to be increasingly difficult for them to keep that clean sheet against these teams as well.
Yeah, but still, when it comes to Leeds, at least Bamford is a must have in the team. Even though they are facing difficult teams, they end up scoring a couple of goals at least. So for me, Bamford is a still yes, and anyone in the Leeds' defense, it's still going to be Dallas because happened to see their game against Crystal Palace, and one long ball made their entire press worthless. So that's how they've been this season. So till the time Bielsa sets his team up properly, they've even lost Ben White from who is now in Brighton. So they lost a good center half. So at this point, till the time Bielsa sorts his defense off, it's either Dallas or no one. If you and I'll also say this, that if you don't have anyone from Leeds' defense, don't go on and get one of them. At this point, if you have Dallas, then it's okay to have him. But if you don't have anyone, then it's good to go for your team. And last question for the day, guys. What is your take on Tottenham's and City's assets at this point? Because Tottenham's fixtures are now going to be a little more tougher, and City's is going to be, it's much more easier for at least the next 7 to 8 game weeks, at least till December. So starting off with Arun, what is your take on the fixtures, and who are your key players who you should remove, and who should you play to have the players in your squad?
Yeah, so there's a fixture swing now with Tottenham facing City, Chelsea, and Arsenal, if I'm not wrong. But I think, Kane can still score against all the three teams that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
I think Son could be sold if you are planning to bring in someone like a Grealish or a Bruno. So you'll have to adjust funds accordingly for either of those players. If you're bringing in Grealish, then you will get more funds. If for Bruno, you'll have to sell another player, or if you have the money in the bank, and get him in. So you could sell Son, but for I think Harry Kane should be kept despite his tough run for Spurs. And for Man City, see, they're not scoring more than one goal. I think they're not scored more than one goal in the 5 consecutive games. I think that's the first time in 11 years. That's what I had, in the commentary in the Liverpool game. So, I mean, getting in a Sterling is just, I feel, a waste of money. There's only one, City player that I would go for is De Bruyne.
Yeah.
He's providing the assist. He missed a penalty, and he takes free kicks and all set pieces. So I think if you're spending 11.5 million, it has to be on De Bruyne from Man City. Otherwise, you should stay away from Man City assets as well. There's better value elsewhere. There's Grealish, who's so cheap. There's Barkley if you want to take a punt. There's Zaha, and Bruno Fernandes. They're all cheaper than De Bruyne. So, and Sterling. So I mean, you could go for those assets as well. So that's what I feel.
Sai, what is your take on it?
I think it's pretty much the same, except I wouldn't call taking De Bruyne a punt right now because Aguero is also stepping back, and he may be returning in the next 2-3 game weeks or so. With that, I think De Bruyne will be a very, very good asset because City have in effect being without a proper striker. I don't consider Jesus as like a Kane type striker who can get you the goals and who can give you the goods that you need.
Yeah.
And with Tottenham and with Man City both, I think the aim should be long term and not just the next 2-3 weeks because they are costly assets, right? You can't keep switching from one asset to the other. Having said that, I think Kane is pretty much fixture proof when it comes to the top teams as well. Son, I would have a bit of reservations, but given the way he's already performed this season, I would stick with him. I would not sell him right now. Again, like De Bruyne is a must-have, like I would say. So,
yeah. And Nikhil?
For me, Kane is a must for me because Kane can score against any team in the league. So there's no point. Like if you have Kane, keep him. That's the thing. And Son against City, I'll keep him because Son has a habit of scoring against City. So scoring or assisting. So he will contribute in that game. And from the City, in terms of City assets, only Cancelo for me right now because he's cheaper and he can be a differential option and he's cheaper and he's providing assists and creating more chances. De Bruyne is more expensive than Bruno, Zaha and Grealish as mentioned. So there's no point. Even De Bruyne, even though he was creating chances, City are not finishing them. So there's no.
That is very true.
So I don't think that even in the long term, until the situation is improved, even if Aguero comes back, I don't know if he's be fit enough to continuously play, given his recent injury form. So I'm not sure about City's attacking assets. Cancelo is playing better and he's proving to be a differential pick right now. I think Srinath only mentioned it last week to me. So Cancelo has passed my eye test also, so I think he's better than the other assets that City have right now. From Tottenham, Kane and Son. For the long term, I don't think I'll keep Son after the City game because eventually he will drop off. Son hasn't gone on a spree of goal scoring or giving assists. He
Yeah.
tends to drop off for a bit of time, so I think it's coming soon.
Just wanted to ask you, Nikhil, how many
Yep.
games in a row has Cancelo started at left back for Man City right now?
I think consecutively 3 or 4 games he has started, right or left,
Yeah,
either left or right.
okay. But there is a risk in that as well because I feel, Pep Guardiola might just play Zinchenko in one of the games in the middle. So you're
Yeah,
spending about 5.5 million on a City defender who might not start. So that's going to
true.
be, it's tricky, but
Yeah, true.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's better. I
Uh,
hope it's better than De Bruyne and Sterling. But Sterling is certainly proving awful right now for everyone. So
yeah. Yeah. I was just saying that, like, first of all, I'll just move on to the very next update after saying this. But for this time, Cancelo is extremely like this thing. Possible, possibly we can be Guardiola as FPL managers. So for till the time I'm not bringing Cancelo in, I'll just wait in for another game week. If he starts again, then I can be again reassured that he's playing regularly. But apart from that, for me, De Bruyne is a must have in your team. And for me, even at least for one game week, as Sai and Nikhil pointed out, that right now, whichever games where there is a very high line, Son has performed exceedingly well, be it Southampton or the other team, Manchester United. So I'll just wait and watch, and especially City haven't been that great defensively. So I'll just provide one more punt on Son and keep him in at least until the next game week, and then maybe look to move on from him. But yeah, so yeah, guys, quickly I'll just point out another update that we just received while recording this. That Mo Salah has been tested positive for COVID. So who are the plausible replacements for him, and who you should think to replace him, be it a Yota, a very cheap option, or someone who's in the similar price bracket, maybe a Mane or someone like that. Starting off with Arun, what is your take on that?
Yeah, so just got the news some time ago that Salah has been tested positive for COVID. And possible replacement for me, first choice replacement would be Bruno Fernandes. He's
Yeah,
playing West Brom at home. He has a decent run, and everything good that goes for United goes through Bruno.
yeah,
Takes corners, takes free kicks, takes penalties. I mean,
yeah,
he's like their De Bruyne. So I mean, and he's cheap as well, cheaper than Salah. You're gonna save money, and so I think he is my first choice to take. Another replacement for him would be, someone like Jack Grealish. You will save a lot of money. Jack
yeah,
Grealish is. I know Sai will, point out that Jack Grealish may not do something, but I know Jack Grealish will perform. He has a great run of fixtures, and I feel he's gonna kill it. He's gonna give a lot of points to whoever owns him. So
yeah,
he is another option, and third option would be Kevin De Bruyne. And as Sai pointed out, Aguero is back. De Bruyne would be an excellent asset to own after that. So a lot of salary. I think every midfielder can be replaced. Every midfielder can replace Salah because he's the costliest. So yeah, I mean these are Mane as well. Actually, Mane is also a good replacement for Salah. By the way,
yeah.
no one mentioned him. So
Yeah, for me, even like Mane, like it's like this, no? Whenever Salah is not in the team, Mane is the one who ends up performing for Liverpool. And whenever Mane is not in the team, Salah is the one who's performing for Liverpool. The only thing is that is just stopping me from bringing him in is the formation that Klopp is going to use. Are they going to sit deep or something like that? Because they don't have any central defenders. So, I just heard from the source that Fabinho might also not be starting just after the game week, the international break. He'll be starting the game week after that. He'll be mostly missing the game against Leicester. So I don't know whether to bring Liverpool assets at this point of time. But yeah, Sai, what's your take on it?
I think the first question that we should ask ourselves is, do we want to replace Salah? Because his value has shot up by about 0.4. He was
Yeah.
originally 12 million and now he's 12.4. So people have gained the 0.2 million on him. And I think before considering replacement, it's a good question to ask is whether you want to replace him, given that he's gotten COVID during the international break. So a large part of the quarantine process is going to be during the international break itself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have an answer right now because the official confirmation hasn't come yet about how many weeks is he going to miss. So maybe I would wait for that, and then obviously, if at all he ends up missing more than 2 game weeks, then I would consider replacements of whatever article that you suggested.
Nikhil, what's your take on it?
I'll wait till the Friday until the game week starts. So I will give this game week a pass. I won't replace Salah right now. Because 1 week, I think he'll miss 1 game week at least. But I don't think if I'll sell Salah, I'll bring someone in, but I won't be able to bring back Salah again after that. He's that expensive right now. So I don't want to lose him because Salah is the most consistent player right now. And for the past 2 seasons also, I think. So I don't think I'll sell him per se. I'll bench him for 1 game week. That's the maximum I'll do. But if someone is willing to take a risk, I'll prefer, like, being a Liverpool fan, I'll prefer Mane or Jota. And if someone else also, I suggest Jota or Mane because those two are the next, like, those two will definitely step it up if Salah is not playing. And Jota is in the form of his life. So Jota could be a good pick given his price tag as well. If someone is willing to take the risk. And instead of Son as well, if someone is replacing Son, Jota could be a
Yeah.
good pick.
For me, I'll
So
just
Nikhil,
hold
just
on.
to sorry, Srinath, just one point.
Yeah.
Just to contradict myself only. Maybe you won't end up losing a lot on Salah, even if you brought him at the start of the season, because you've gained only 0.2 million, right? And his value is definitely going to fall in the next 1 week or so. So maybe you'll just end up losing 0.1 if at all he doesn't fall below 12.3. So I don't see it as much of a risk, but yeah, for people who do not have anything in the bank, I think they should hold on to Salah, depending on how many game weeks he wins.
Yeah, true.
Guys, for me as well, Jota seems like a very good option. But I'll just wait and watch for one more game week maybe. I'll just even if I'm planning to replace Salah at this point, it'll be someone with who can act as a placeholder for him. Maybe a Mane or even a De Bruyne for that matter. But at this point of time, having Salah is the best option that you could have from Liverpool. So, like at this point, it's just a wait and watch for me. I already own Bruno Fernandes and the other guy, Son. So, like it's not a must to replace anyone with. But yeah, at this point of time, it's just a wait and watch for me again. How does the team do without them, and for how long is Salah going to be out? All those sort of information are pretty much unknown to us at this point of time. So we'll be discussing those again in the podcast coming before the game week. So stay tuned for the same. And yeah, hope you guys be safe and a very happy Diwali, guys. So yeah.
Happy Diwali, guys.
Yeah.
Happy Diwali, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Diwali. Thank you
And
guys.
it's always great to have you guys in the podcast. It's pretty interesting to have these discussions. So we
It's
can
great to
maybe
be
we can
here.
yeah. We'll be continuing this only. We are having different opinions about players and all. So seems like a very good podcast. So we'll end the podcast here, guys. And thank you so much for joining us in. And hope you have a very good Diwali and a wonderful game week ahead as well.